90% of the larger fish in the ocean are gone, that we have taken them through overfishing, unsustainable overfishing.
You're known as a singer, obviously, and a surprisingly dangerous and funny presence on Twitter, but you're less well known for your interest in fish. How did you first become interested in ocean conservation?
My father was based in Cyprus. He was in the army, and so I grew up in the Mediterranean. I live in Ibiza now, and have done for 14 years, and I call it my home, and as such I can really see the changes that have happened there over my lifetime. I mean, I think anyone who goes on holiday in the Mediterranean will ask the same question as me when you jump in the water, which is, where are the fish? I mean, there's so few now as to when I was a child. I think people really recognise that plastics are a problem. We go into our supermarkets now, and I hope that we're all more aware that by purchasing goods covered in plastics, it will end up with them being in the ocean. But I think people have realised that is the tip of the iceberg, and the problem is not just plastics, but climate, and also our huge amount of overfishing in an unsustainable manner.
What is the single worst thing that's happening in the sea right now?
I don't think you have to look very far. In Dogger Bank, which most of us will have heard about from the weather reports, Dogger Bank is where we're supposed to have one of Europe's largest marine conservation areas, and instead what's going on there is this remarkable thing, this terrible thing called pulse fishing, where they literally send a pulse down into the seabed. In doing so, that snaps the spines of larger fish, kills up to a quarter of the young cod, and indiscriminately kills all marine life on the seabed in the mud, and is destroying an ecosystem.
So they're literally just electrocuting the sea?
Absolutely.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, and it sounds as bad as it is.
So who's at fault for all this? Who's doing this type of fishing?
Well, I think we're not talking about small fishing boats in the channel. We're talking about large-scale industrial fishing, which is literally going with enormous great nets and taking everything they can out of the ocean.
So shouldn't we just eat less fish?
Well, I think if we continue to, in the way that we have, there simply won't be any fish at the end of it. But I think the answer for us is to question where our fish is coming from and ask, is it from sustainable sources? Is it locally sourced?
So who's standing in the way of this?
I don't think anyone's standing in the way of it. It's just about action or inaction. Sometimes we can be focused on other things. We just need to focus our minds, and therefore focus our pressure on ourselves, on business and on governments to act on this.